Good morning, everyone. I'm here to tell you about a new show that just came out on HBO Max. Well, it's been streaming there for a couple weeks, but it just finished. Tokyo Vice. I binged all 8 episodes in about 2 days. I've been putting it off and putting it off because I'm watching other things, doing other things, and I was like, I kept looking at reviews, kept being good, and then I started watching, and it kind of says, like everyone says, it's slow burn. This is a slow burn show. And this is a spoilers review, so I'm going to tell you right now. The ending it has a cliffhanger. It ends on a cliffhanger. Any other network besides HBO Max, I would have felt like I wasted my time because there's no way a slow burn show like this is getting renewed unless you're on HBO Max. Netflix would have canceled it. Hell, it could have been just as good as Squid Game. Netflix would have canceled the show. I'm telling you this right now. But I trust HBO Max will give us a proper ending to this story that they have. I'm invested. Cause for the first 4 episodes, I was just watching it with my phone, and I was listening, but I wasn't really giving it my full attention. By episode 5, that's when I got hooked. That's when I started getting really invested in these characters. Characters like Soto, Jake. I honestly can't remember the name of the girl that works at the club, the blonde American. But every time they just call her Gaijin. That's why they call her Gaijin. I remember her being called Gaijin more than her being called her own name. I'm just going to refer to her as Gaijin number 2. Jake's Gaijin number 1. And like the first 1 to 2 to even 3 episodes is Jake trying to find his bearings in Japan. He gets his job at the big newspaper. Biggest newspaper in the world. He's finding it. He's trying to. He has some. You see how he gets somewhere to live. He's trying to make it. Trying to understand the underground world of Tokyo. And this is really this. You could say this is a fish out of water story. This is a small fish in a whole big ocean. And to be honest, for most of this season, he's drowning. There's one point when he found a nice little stride. But after that, he thinks he messes up, and it really puts him into a depression. And then he got his boss gives him a reason to come back in, to pull him back in. And Jake, he goes right back in, and then once again, he meets another bump in the road. Literally, he gets his ass beat by the Yakuza and told to stay away from so-and-so. And it leaves him defeated, leaving him want to go back home to Missouri. And not only does he have to deal with all this over here in Tokyo, he has his parents bugging him to come back home. He has his sister that she sends him tapes, and no matter what she says on tapes, he says she's fine. She says she's fine. From her parents' point of view, she's falling right back into her addiction, her old ways. She probably has, from what I'm gathering off of their conversation, she has an addiction and mental health problems. And he's here in Tokyo, accomplishing nothing but getting himself embarrassed and beat up. And he's probably thinking, why am I still here? And right at the end of the season, right when Jake's about to leave, he gets a DVD of one of Gaijin number 2's friends, Dina, on a love boat where they send you when you have a copious amounts of debt. And she's refusing to sleep with and she's doing this on purpose. She keeps looking at the camera, and she's refusing to sleep with one of the men. Well, I'm not going to say she's doing this on purpose because she keeps looking at the camera. The camera might be a mirror, and we don't know who sent this tape. Because how would Dina know that she was going to die? How would she know to send this tape? Dina doesn't seem like the type of person to make that kind of sacrifice. So I'm going to assume Dina didn't do this on purpose. And it's just something that someone else videotaped, and they think it's wrong, and they send it to Jake for a reason. And Jake saw this video, and you could just see the pain in his eyes, watching her get abused and beaten to death. And you could just tell it made his blood boil. And that's why I love good actors. They can portray the pain that it sees. And he takes it to his number 1 detective. I can't remember his name. But I'm going to explain him in the best way. He's uncorruptible. He's an old age, uncorruptible detective that just wants to do the right thing, but understands that you have to do things a certain way to keep the peace. And that's how I wanted to try to police his relationship with Yakuza throughout the whole season. They want to catch them, but they want to do it in a way that can not only keep the peace, but they want to do it the right way, and they want to keep the peace. And sometimes doing things the right way and keeping the peace don't align perfectly. And this honorable detective loses a lot this season trying to keep the peace and do things the right way. And another character I loved on the show was Soto. Soto was like, to me, a lost puppy in big man's shoes. That's all. He was a lost puppy in big man's shoes. And I might argue he might have been my favorite character out of the whole show. Even though this show's more about Jake Addison, he might have been my favorite character. He was just a lost puppy in the big man's shoes. And you could just, and there comes a point in the season when he has to kill someone who's basically been a mentor / father figure to him. And I thought for sure, out of all the crime shows I've seen, that Soto was just going to turn around and kill the head master, who's an old man. The old man head master. I thought for sure, he's going to kill him, and him and his mentor are going to run things. And then after like 30 seconds to him, and he's still freezing and shaking, I'm like, this guy ain't going to kill him. He's not going to kill neither one of them. Then I was like, because I was thinking at first, when he was shaking and he was still freezing and it's been 30 seconds, he's going to kill his mentor and turn around and kill the old man. And he's going to run things. And then he just kept on shaking. And just kept on shaking. And then the mentor looks at him with teary eyes and says, it's okay, little brother. You were never built for this life. And he jumps off the building and kills himself. And I just there, it's kind of solidified that Soto, he does have fierceness and he does have strength, but he's not really built for this life. He's faking it the best he can make it. He's faking it the best way. And he's trying to make it, and it's working. But he's not really built for this life. And then he recruits this kid. So this man comes to him and says he wants his son or nephew to be a man, a real man's man. And Soto recruits him. And throughout the rest of the season, you're going to see the complete mirror image of Soto, but he can't fake it like Soto can fake it. He doesn't have the fierceness like Soto has a fierceness. Soto has a fierceness. And at the end of the season, he drops him right back off at his uncle's house and tells him, you aren't built for this life. Now, if I see you with any of the competition or trying to come back, I'll break your face. And it was a nice moment, but the guy wasn't built for it. And I would like to think Soto learned something from him by seeing that mirror image of himself. But his story also leaves off at a cliffhanger. When he's leaving Gaijin number 2's apartment, because he had gotten to that's another thing I loved about the show, I thought it was a love triangle between Gaijin number 2, Jake, and Soto. But as the season goes on, you start to realize Jake dislikes Gaijin number 2 because she reminds him of home. He isn't really romantically in love with her. He just likes her because she reminds him of home. Soto really loves her. And I don't know if she ever really picked up on that Jake only really liked her because she reminded him of home. Or maybe Jake's playing this slow with her. But I thought their relationship was very beautiful. And the Gaijin number 2 puts Soto to a few things to try to find Dina. And it only ends up making him get more embarrassed because when he went to a club to look for Dina, a rival gang was in there and he couldn't do anything about it, and it made him feel a little weak. So he got into a big argument with Gaijin number 2. And at the season finale, he goes to her house, and when he's leaving, he gets stabbed up by one of the people, I'm going to call them young lions, or whatever they're like, one of the lower ranked Yakuza. that he had beat up previously in the season that kept harassing him, kept heckling him, so he beat him up. And he gets shanked up by him. Now, I didn't see a body, so I'm going to assume he lives to see season 2. But it just kind of leads off on his body, and it cuts to darkness. I didn't see a body bag, so I'm going to assume he lives. And I don't think they're going to spend. He had about as much screen time as Angel's Egnat's Jake Addison. So I'm going to assume he lives. You don't give that character that much screen time and just kill him like that, especially in a slow burn show like this. So yeah, if I had to rate Tokyo Vice, I'd probably give it a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I'm hooked. I'm going to be here for season 2. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day.